All right, you guys, it's Friday. We're heading into the weekend. As you can see, I am extremely casual today. I had more of an admin day, but I am going to go ahead and get ready to go because I have a dinner tonight, but I'm also prepping my hair for a photo shoot on Monday. I kind of want to be able to relax the weekend and not do a whole lot of work, maybe get my toes done or something like that. So today I am going to take my passion twists out. I have enjoyed them. I've had them for a little while, but if you can't tell from my voice, I've been under the weather. I've just been extra chill, but now I have to get back into some brand ready stuff. So I kind of gotta go back to my black long hair, you know, whatever, my normal hair, and save this for another day. But I also wanted to chit chat with you guys real quick because while I'm taking this out, we're actually going to talk co-parenting because the dinner I'm going to later on tonight is actually for my ex-husband. He turns 40 today. And that honestly brings up a lot of different, not really emotions, but just thoughts about our journey that we've had. We'll be divorced 2 years in February. And this co-parenting thing has been something else to get used to, and I realize I haven't really talked to you guys about it on my channel, so let's go ahead and get into some of it. Some stuff is kind of like none your business, but because I share everything else, I mean, why not? I'm gonna get my water, baby, because we got to stay hydrated and stay blessed around here. Cool, this is the background. This is what we got going on. It is what it is. All right, y'all, let's get into it. This whole process of just becoming a single woman again, and I've got so many different things going on, and I'm just trying to grasp everything and just keep my life together, pretty much. Just like keep your life together 2023. That's what we got going on, okay? So let's see the reality of the situation with these twists. I love when I have my twists. I feel like Stella. Got a little groove back, but got to get back to normal. I don't know about you, but when I take my twists out or braids out, I start at the top and in the front because I figure if I'm not done yet, I could always throw on a hat, at least have the bottom and the back. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to try to remove these twists. I didn't even bring any scissors over because I'm praying to the Lord God Almighty I don't have to cut these off. These things only cost like $45 on Amazon, so if I got to get them again, that's fine. I just don't want to cut my hair by accident, so we're just gonna... All right, so basically my ex-husband and I, we get along really well for the most part. We have a really good just working relationship when it comes to our daughter. It was pretty easy to segue into that from marriage into co-parenting, mainly because we started off as really good friends, but then also I feel like focusing on mercy is where we thrived, and that's what we did really well. So that has always, from the very beginning, been our absolute focus. Like that's something that we always just stay dedicated to, is whatever is best for Mercy is what's best for Mercy. And I actually commend us both for just keeping the charge with that, because regardless of who initiated the divorce or the dissolvement of our marriage, we both had that in mind. Nothing else was done, or nothing was done out of malicious intent. Nothing was done out of just wanting to hurt the other person. Like that's the last thing that I want, and I believe that's the last thing that he wants. This might have to be a cut. I'm trying to preserve, but it ain't working. So I honestly think that the fact that our marriage ended on good terms, and it's something that we kind of did together in a sense, like there were no lawyers, there was none of that. It was kind of like, hey, this is what's going on, this is how I'm feeling, this is where I'm at, can we work it out? And we both kind of at some point came to the agreement that while we could keep trying to work it out, there's just things that just aren't going to change between one or the other people, and that is going to kind of deter our own personal growth, or it's just not going to work. So I think that we've handled a lot of what's happened in our marriage maturely, but I won't dive into that really anymore because that's just really private. But I did want to set that groundwork, because when it comes to co-parenting, I think that you know, how really no matter how the relationship ends, you can always have a come together moment where you say, from this point on, this is how we're going to handle it, and this is how we're going to approach our co-parenting relationship. But I think it did help that we had a very honest perspective on where our marriage was and what needed to happen, because it did lay the groundwork on, you know, how we're able to move forward today. I would say too, you know, that's not to say that it hasn't come without any challenges. I always say that right now we're in a really good place, but neither of us are dating anybody else seriously yet. And I feel like that's going to have a whole other dynamic to our relationship. I actually had a conversation with him the other day, and someone was trying to set me up with somebody. And I was like, why is your friend trying to set me up with somebody? Blah, 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 blah. And he was just like, I mean, if you want to, you know, go out with them or whatever, then you can. And I was like, well, that's, you know, it's a whole nother state. That's just not really something I see myself doing. But I was like, have you, you know, been out with anybody, or are you dating? And I felt so weird asking that. But he was like, yeah, I've been on a couple dates. And I'm not going to lie, for like a split second, there was like a, what? What? Where they at? And I had to like really like sit back and be like, girl, why do you even feel that way? Because you really don't want to go back there, right? Like I just don't want to go back there. And neither does he. So it's like, why are you even thinking about that? But when you think about it, being married to him just seems like a whole other lifetime. It's so weird. But when you think about them moving forward with somebody else, there's a lot that comes with that. Number one, oh, I saved one. I saved one. Hallelujah. I don't know if I'll use it, but I saved it just in case. But when you think about them moving forward with somebody else, there's a lot that goes into that. First of all, with my daughter, it's something that I thought about and contemplated a lot when it came to making a decision about our marriage. And I just knew that there would be a point where I would have to share her as a mother. Do we have another? Do we have another? Yes. Oh, yes. Okay, basically what I'm doing, for those who actually need to know, I'm loosening the top knot, trying to find a good example, as much as I can, and kind of reversing the direction that I slid the hair through. But I'm just going to slide that through, kind of do a tug, see if I can get it through that braid. And that's why I only tie it through like 2 or 3 times so I can get it out. Yes, hallelujah. So yeah, it's not that there's feelings there per se. I don't think they're feelings for who he is now. I think that we both changed a lot over the last couple years. And I think there's a couple things that come in mind when you think about them or yourself dating other people and the dynamics that brings into co-parenting. When you think about them, or when I think about him dating somebody else, first of all, it's something that I definitely considered when I was making a decision about my marriage. It wasn't a deciding factor, whereas it's like, oh, I don't want him dating anybody else, so I'm going to stay married to that person. That's not really a good excuse to be married or stay with them. But I had to say, okay, I can't be insecure about it. I can't be embarrassed about it and say, well, maybe it works with someone else, but it didn't work with me. So what's wrong with me? I think there was like an insecure moment with that, as to why I was like, you know, square up type of thing. It was just because it brought me back to moments within our marriage and in other relationships where it was like, what's wrong with me? Why did XYZ happen? Or, you know, why do you prefer somebody else? And those are just things that I have to continue to work through. And I'm glad that I have to go on that journey, because I see that with my daughter, where she wants, you know, certain attention. She wants friends, and eventually she's going to want boys to like her, a specific boy to like her. And it's going to be like, girl, they may be into you, but they may be into somebody else more. And they decide that you're not it for them. And you might have to make that decision. So I just really had to come to a place of maturity, especially when I was in the beginning of just deciding things with our marriage, and say, you know, I release this person. I release this person to be their absolute best self. And if that means that I have to step out of the way, then I'll step out of the way. If that means that they have to be with someone else in order to truly be who they want to be in this life, then they're going to have to be with somebody else. And if I love this person as much as I say that I do, then whatever I'm feeling will take a back seat. And that's kind of how it is. And I'm actually excited to maybe see them, you know, maybe the things that we were dealing with, they figure out, hey, those are things I got to do in a relationship, or maybe not. Maybe those aren't even requirements for someone else. And I had to think about that too. Like, maybe I just require different things than other women might. And that might be what's best for him. Same for me. Maybe there's someone who require less or more of whatever. And that'll be what works best for me in my life and what God has for me to do. So, you know, it's a catch-22 because I did feel a huge sense of loyalty to him and a responsibility to be there for him and to be his family the way that I promised I would in front of God and in front of all those witnesses. But at the same time, you know, I figure, and one thing that, you know, I feel led to me having peace in my decision to divorce and focus on co-parenting with him was that those things will never go away in my book. If it comes to a point where it's uncomfortable for him, for us to still be considered family in a certain dynamic because he's with someone else, or maybe he's just moved on and he doesn't really want that friendship, then that's fine. But for us, we've always committed that we're just going to be family and we're going to stay family. And that's part of the reason why I kept my last name Rodriguez rather than going back to Little. First of all, it's just more interesting, to be honest. But when I married him, sorry, my heat turned on and I'm not going to be cold for nobody. But when I married him, I promised him that I would be his family through better or worse, till death do us part. And that's something that I still am committed to. And maybe our relationship within that family changes, but he's my family and I'm his family. And that's kind of how I see it. Hence the reason why I'm able to celebrate his 40th birthday and, you know, treat him to dinner, bring our daughter along, and just have like a little family day with our, you know, blended family, and just kind of, you know, celebrate such a monumental moment in his life, because he really is a nice guy. He's a great dad. And regardless of what our relationship is like, I'm going to celebrate him. I'm going to say, even if it's big or small, I'm going to celebrate him. I'm going to show appreciation to him. I'm going to let him know that he's valued and that his efforts, you know, to be a great dad and a good co-parent to me, they don't go unnoticed. So I'm going to treat him like I do any other friend and treat him to dinner. And I don't know, is that weird? Is that weird to you guys? I might just be a weird person when it comes to that. I don't know. I don't know if that's weird, you guys, if that's like a weird thing that I'm treating my ex-husband to dinner for his birthday. Here's the thing. If he had a woman, I wouldn't be doing it. That's true. If I had a man and he was cool with it, we can all go and we can treat him, because that's what family does, right? If he had a woman and she felt a little weird about it, we can still all go, but maybe we'll just, you know, pay our own tab, something like that. But for me, it's like, as long as he's single and as long as I'm still his family and as long as it's not too weird, you know what I mean, then I really don't have a problem with it. Because like I said, he's a great guy. He's a great dad. He puts forth a lot of effort to make sure that we're co-parenting peacefully. We haven't had to really deal with a lot of drama of any kind. But again, hopefully that doesn't change. Once someone starts dating someone else, that changes so much, because there's so much you can't control with that when it comes to your child. Maybe I'm a hopeful person. Maybe I'm a little naive, but I am believing God. If these braids don't beat me up first, but I'm believing God for someone who, you know, desires that and who would want me to be a part of their family in that way, if they have kids. So that's kind of where we're at right now with co-parenting, y'all. It's been a journey. It's honestly just been very easy. And I think it's just because we have a love and respect for each other, first and foremost, that is at a good basic level. I think we both kind of know that with our marriage, we were young. I think we both wanted to be married. I don't know if it was more of a why not this person rather than why this person, you know what I mean? And there's a difference. I think if you're kind of waiting for that moment to find someone to start a family and you're getting older, you end up meeting someone and it's like, well, why not them? They're nice, they're cool, we're great friends, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? I love them. They're good people. They have a great family or a great dynamic, whatever that is. You know, why not? As opposed to really why this person? Like, are they truly a good fit to be a part of my life and my growth as a woman or as a man? You know, do I really desire to grow as a woman, as a man? And if they desire to be on this path, then are they someone that I really want to be with? Or do I want someone who's a little more chill, where I don't want to have to think about those things? So, I mean, there's just a lot that I've learned through this experience that has me excited for another relationship. I actually read a quote the other day that said, I'm not starting all over, I'm starting with experience. And that's how I feel. I think that there are people who have been in relationships before and I understand why, where they're like, I don't want to go through this again. And even if the relationship doesn't end in divorce necessarily, it will end at some point, because forever just doesn't live here on earth. It just doesn't. So at some point, you're going to lose that person. You're going to go through pain. You're going to go through grief. You're going to go through loss. It's just a matter of how that happens. And then you may have to decide to move on and find someone else and enter another relationship and then another like, you just don't know what that journey looks like. And I think everybody goes into it wanting it to be that one person, but when it just doesn't work out due to changes or, you know, discovery or whatever it is, then, you know, you have to decide whether or not that's something you want to place on yourself as trauma, or is it, you know what, I learned a lot during that time. And I'm just someone who's okay with taking that experience and remaining open to whatever God might have for me. I do desire to be married again. I'm just a wife. That's how I am. That's how I operate. I operate as a wife, as a protector, as a contributor, as an encourager, a lover, a friend. Like, that's just how I am as a person. And I don't think that I wasted my time or wasted who I am on someone. I think that I gave it to someone who I vetted, you know what I mean? And I spent time with, like, we were together for years. But I think that, you know, we both could have maybe chosen differently, or maybe just taken a different path to ensure that our marriage would last, and we just didn't. And it just got hard. So that's just the reality of it. That's where I am. We're great co-parents right now. But I'm a strong believer that if you're someone like me who loves hard and just gives, like today I'm giving to my ex-husband, and has he taken me to dinner on my birthday? Not really. But that's okay. I wasn't expecting it. I'm cool with it. But that's just how I choose to give to my friends. And that's how I show love. And other people might not do that. And that's okay with me. I think for me, that's just how I am. And I want to operate in who I am for the right people and at the right time. But I want to operate in who I am. And I think as long as it's given with wisdom and it's given with care, then it's not wasted. I think they can waste it. You know, they can mishandle the love that's given and the friendship that's given. And they can, you know, I guess, mess it up in a sense. But my only mission is to give. That's the only thing I can control. I'll tell you what, right now I'm blessed. I'm very determined on my end to fight through whatever may come. And sometimes you may have to just fight your own self, your own insecurity, your own anger, your own resentment. I still deal with those things sometimes, so I just have to fight through those and put them in their place. Kind of go back to basics when it comes to him and I, and just say, okay, this is the reality. This might be how I'm feeling right now, but this is the reality of the situation. This is why we are where we are, and this is why it needs to stay the way that it is. And, you know, the focus just really needs to be on my beautiful daughter. And it's been hard too, because she has, she knows that my parents were divorced for 5 years, and then they got back together. And so she's just waiting. She's just like, when are y'all get back together? When do you want us to all be a family, especially around holiday time and stuff like that? But we both have had to just like reiterate to her, like, that is one person's story. You know what I mean? And it's a great story, and that worked for them, but that does not happen all the time, you know? And I think that's just that's the hard part of divorce, is the pain that it causes kids. And my parents have been divorced before, so I know what she's going through. You feel totally out of control. You want something so bad, and you're wondering, why can't it just happen? And you have no control over it. Like, there's nothing you can do. There's absolutely nothing you can do to make it be what you want it to be. And as a child, you just don't understand. But what gives me hope that she will be okay is that there was a moment when I was older, my mom was able to really explain some of the things that kind of happened in the relationship and where she was coming from at the right time. And I then understood, because I didn't want, even though I wanted everyone together, I didn't want my mom or my dad to be hurt daily. You know, I didn't want that for them. I didn't want, you know, some of the things that were happening and some of the fears that my mom had and stuff. You know, she had to make a really hard decision. I didn't want that for her. As I became a woman, I started to understand. I was really like a teenager, but I really started to understand. And you know what's funny? That's what made it harder for them to get back together with my blessing child, because I was like, okay, y'all sure? You sure you want to do? You sure you gonna let him back up? You gonna let him back up in your house? Girl, after everything we just talked about? I don't know about that. I don't know about that, you know? But, you know, we got through it. We got through it. But anyway, you know, I understand what my daughter's going through, and I think that helps, being able to share that with her. Just that I understand, you know, I've been there, I know it's painful, and that it's okay to cry, it's okay to have those big feelings, it's okay to be upset, it's okay to express them, it's okay to write them down, it's okay to draw it out, you know, however you want to do it. It's okay, you know, take those feelings, you own them, you know, don't sit in them too long, but, you know, let's talk them through. This is a part of her journey and story as well, so we're just focused on communication when those things come up, so that we both have the same message and that we both are approaching it with care and love, no matter how often it comes up. You know, if there's any tips about co-parenting that I could give that makes smooth co-parenting smooth, it can make it even a pleasant experience. Number one is just having a mutual respect for each other, and a mutual respect for each other's lives. I think that is a very basic thing that you have for strangers. You have them for, you know, your normal friends. You have a basic respect for them. Even people you don't like, you have a respect for them and their property and their feelings. So have a mutual respect for each other. There was a point, even if things changed, where you loved each other and you were part of each other's lives every day. And even though that's ended for whatever the reason, they're still human beings who deserve a level of respect. So I would say definitely make sure that you're respectful of each other. I would say communication is definitely a strong, it's like there's a 1A and a 1B, okay? Respect for each other can determine how you communicate with that person, but definitely communication. Like just being on the same page, compromise. Sometimes you're just not gonna be able to control everything that happens at the other person's house. You have to be okay with that. I think if you trust the other person to have some sort of custody and they're there, I mean, you lay down with that person, you had a child with that person. So hopefully you know, we're okay with that person being a father to your children at some point. So, you know, just trust their instincts and allow God to guide them on how to be a good dad or a good mom to that child. Pray over the situation. That's number 3. That's really like 1A. But if you're a prayerful person, pray over the other parent. It's like in the Bible where it says, I think it's in Kings somewhere, where he says to pray over those that are in authority over your life so that you can live a quiet and peaceable life. Pray for, you know, the leaders, pray for teachers, pray for your bosses, pray for those people who have a say-so or contribute to your life so that you can lead a quiet and peaceable life, drama-free life. That comes with prayer, and that even includes praying for the other parent. Just praying that their temperament is there, that praying that they can hear from God and receive wisdom on how to parent your child. If there's things you disagree on, you know, really just pray about it and see how you can approach it. See how you can, if your mindset needs to change a little bit, or just pray for the other person. Pray that God, you know, continues to speak to them and that they are receptive to hear on how to be a better, you know, father or mother in certain areas, how to improve in certain areas. So I would definitely just say respect for each other, communication, prayer, baby. Like that. That's really what it boils down to. And it's also just keeping, you know, the child at the center of your decisions. I can't stress enough how often I allowed my insecurity or resentment to lead the way in some of the decision making, or that I was tempted to. And I had to sit back and say, is this really just for me to feel better, or is it really for the best interest of my child? You know, at the end of the day, when I look at her life and I look at this person's life story, is this decision going to affect them long term negatively or positively? I have a say so in that. If things might make me feel better right now, it might, you know, have a good gotcha moment because you did this, so I'm going to do this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to hit you where it hurts. Come on now. Like, my child is not a weapon toward the other parent. They're a blessing. And so we just have to continue to keep that in mind, no matter what changes may come or who may enter the picture. It really is about the best interests of that child. So those are just some co-parenting things that have helped us to co-parent well. If he was a camera person and he was okay with coming on camera and talking about stuff from a guy's perspective, I would bring him on, but he's not. So I get to just tell my little story and maybe he'll do his little thing. But let me get through this hair, child, and get on with my day. See if I can wash. What time is dinner? Oh, I'm not doing too bad. I'm not doing too bad at all. I'm gonna get these out, wash my hair. My sister gave me some clip-ins, so I'm gonna get those in and kind of see how those are looking and get my hair back to normal.
I gotta tell you something I could do. I could be running around chasing you, but I won't. Cause I got better things to do. Rather spend my precious time chasing somebody who loves me too. If I got $1 for every time you slam the door, I would be the richest girl alive. If you hadn't run away every time I asked you stay, you would sleep right next to me tonight. No, you didn't know me. All you wanted was a game to play, and you couldn't handle that I had my ways.
All right, I've got my clip-ins in, so I'm kind of taking each section after I curl it. I'm using a satin flexi rod. Comes with 2 Velcro sides. Just kind of Velcro it together. Boop. What do you wear when you're going to dinner with your ex-husband? What do you wear? Not like dinner with, but y'all know what I mean. We're going with our daughter, so it's a family day. I think we'll kind of keep it casual. Something just like some jeans, a cute cardigan. This is from my Line the Layer collection. So cute, comfortable, good for dressing up or down. Yeah, I think this is good. Birthday boy. It's okay. It's okay. Oh. So cute.